So here's everybody's favorite fescue weed. Of course they call it a weed, but it's actually a grass. It's a little bit of common Bermuda. It's creeping back in my yard again. It is so incredibly hard to control. That's why I call it devil grass, when it's not where it belongs. When I renovated my yard, these were the same 3 spots of Bermuda I had when I killed it off originally. I kept it gone for about 5 years. A couple of years ago, it started creeping back in slowly but surely. I've been using Pilex on it for the past 2 years, but this year I've been playing around with a new mix. And I'm getting some pretty dang good control. But as you can see, it's also stressing my fescue out pretty severely. Now here's the 3rd location, and you can see the stress on the turf right here, where it's kind of discolored it a little bit. So I'm gonna humbly say that I think this yard's probably some of the better maintained fescue around, meaning it's super healthy, super dense, super strong, watered correctly, but look, it still stressed it out. Now here's a little area where my irrigation doesn't cover. This is in my neighbor's yard right here where it's kind of sliding over a little bit. But you can see right there, still a little bit of green. That's after 2 applications of it, and I'm gonna do it a 3rd time here in about another week. I'll keep you updated to see how the progress is working. Now you can see right here, here's the same Bermuda, but this has been treated with Pilex. And you can see how it whitens out the leaf right there. That's a sure tell sign that you'll know that Pilex has been sprayed on that Bermuda. So Bermuda is absolutely a desired turf in a lot of situations, but right here in my client's yard, they've got a cool season fescue yard and it ain't desired. So I just got done making a Pilex application because the Bermuda's kind of spread all out through the grass, mingled here and there, except this one spot. I've got a really big, large, condensed spot of Bermuda. So I've sprayed the whole yard with Pilex, even this area. I'm gonna go back over this spot with Roundup. Now if you do this, you wanna be extra careful. Don't walk through your Roundup. You don't wanna step in it and track it around the rest of the yard. Again, you don't want to get this on your feet and then go walking through the yard because you're in trouble. And whenever I exit a yard, when I got Roundup or glyphosate, I will absolutely cover that, because if you drip a little bit on your grass, it'll leave a dead spot. Hey there, it's Pete with GCI Turf. I hope you're having a great day today. I'm out here in my yard doing some weed scouting, checking it out to see if I need to spray some weeds or not. Now chances are we probably got some new folks watching. I just want to go over some real basic weed control. And I want to go over it in the way it relates to aerating and seeding. We're about middle of August. We're going into the fall. And we're just about ready to start aerating and seeding that cool season turf. Well, Pete, I get all that. I understand I'm getting ready to aerate and seed, but man, I got some weeds in the yard. What do I do? Well, stuff like nutsedge, you can see right here. You can see my turf up under the nutsedge, and the sedge is just kind of mingled in this one little spot right here. It looks a lot like my grass. It's more of a lime green color though. If you pull it off and you look at the end right here, not sure if you're going to be able to see that, but it's shaped kind of in a V pattern. It's kind of firm. And if you actually pulled one up from the ground, at the very bottom you can feel somewhat, it's going to feel like a little ball or maybe a nut. Well, I would use something like Sage Hammer or Pro Sage mixed with natural adjuvant and take that on out. So if you don't know what an adjuvant is, it's basically a product that you're going to add in with your herbicide, okay? You're going to put it in there with your water and your herbicide, and it's going to make that herbicide work better than it typically would. It's going to help that herbicide to stick to the leaf blade of that weed, and in some cases help it enter the weed faster. Now for the most part, you're going to run into two different kinds of weeds. One's going to be grassy type weeds, and the other's going to be broadleaf type weeds. Oh, and not to mention your sedges, like that nut sedge I just showed you. You see, talking about broad and broadleaf, who don't want to be big and broad, right? Well, I used to take that weightlifting real serious. I actually used to weigh about 259 with a 30-inch waist. Weightlifting, working out was my life. And taking illegal substances to get there was a part of that. See, I don't rely on that kind of stuff for my strength anymore. I get my strength from Jesus. See, I got a resource called God's Word, and it's unlimited power. See, Jesus does way more for me than any needle could ever do. Now here's a fine example of what I'm calling a broadleaf weed. Look at the leaf on it. This is a good way for you to identify whether it's a broadleaf or a grassy weed. Reach down there and pick you up a little bit of it. Now you can see the shape of that. It's got kind of an oval shape to it, don't it? That's going to be how you determine whether it's a grassy weed or a broadleaf weed. Those broadleaf, they can be round, oval, clover shape, sometimes diamond shape, spearhead shape. But the basic principle is it's going to have a broad shape to it. Clover, plantain, Virginia buttonweed, lespedeza, wild violets, hairy bittercress, henbit. Man, the list goes on and on and on for different broadleaf weeds. This big lovely chunk is called Dallas grass, Dallis grass. I don't know if it's a problem where you live, but it is a problem where we live in North Carolina, and there's plenty of this to go around. It's a very thick, wide bladed leaf. You can see that right there. Very, very nasty plant to control. Big, humongous seed pods. We used to call these grasshopper. It kind of looks like a grasshopper leg. See how much already I've cut off in about a 10 by 20 foot square, 10 by 20 foot section. And I've got 3 or 4 more plants to go right here. And what I'm doing, I'm just coming down here and cutting these seed pods off. Roundup, Pylex controls this stuff pretty well. I don't know of too many more options. I'm sure there's some out there, but definitely I'm getting rid of these seed pods so I don't have to worry about possibly creating more plants in the future. And this stuff kind of acts kind of like a daylily or something like that, where when the frost hits, it'll kind of melt and go back in the ground. Next year, as it warms back up, it'll pop back and show itself. So you got a brief period of time to get rid of this stuff, and it is I'm gonna call that the second hardest thing to get rid of in a cool season yard. Obviously common Bermuda being the first. I'm not even gonna walk across the street. I'm not even gonna put it in my trash can. I'm gonna take it and put it in the front seat of my truck, and I'm gonna take it to the shop when I go to work in the morning. And I'm gonna take it and throw it in the dumpster and let Waste Management take care of it. Let's shoot right over here to my neighbor's yard. I want to show you a good example of what I call a grassy weed. This is Dallas grass that is actually starting to check out. Now, something you notice about this leaf blade right here, you see how it resembles a grass blade? It kind of looks like a grass blade. It kind of feels like a grass blade. And in some cases, and in most cases, it grows like a grass blade. This is part of that new mixture I'm working on the Bermuda, and it's also affecting the Dallas grass pretty good. Now the list goes on and on and on. It would be impossible for me to cover every single herbicide, every single weed in one video. But what I do want you to understand, what I do want you to take away from this video is one thing, and how it relates to aerating and seeding. Read the label. The reason you read the label as when herbicides are concerned is some of the herbicides, and a lot of the herbicides actually affect the germination of seed or affect grass seed in a negative way. We do not want that when we're aerating and seeding. Yes, there are good broad spectrum herbicides that'll cover multitudes of things, but in general, you're going to have a group of herbicides that'll control grassy type weeds like that Bermuda, that Dallas grass, goose grass, and then you're also going to have a group of herbicides that'll control broadleaf weeds, and sometimes they cross over. The whole reason I made this video is I had a fella email me and kind of lay out his schedule for his aerating seed, and he was going to do this and that and this and that. And the day before, he was going to apply some triplet herbicide. Well, if you read the label on triplet herbicide, you have to wait a certain time frame before you can aerate and seed once you've applied it. Now, yeah, I know there's things like tenacity and Pilex and stuff like that where you can seed the same day or the day after and things like that. There are specialty type herbicides that allow that. Most of them don't. So please pull up the label on Google, if you have the jug, take the jug out, read the label, find the section in there where it talks about seeding, overseeding, any of that type of thing. Because most of the time they're going to have a restriction on it that tells you wait X amount of days before you seed. So hey, thank you for watching. And again, this is kind of a reply to an email. I thought this email was so important that I just wanted to make a video of it and share it with everybody so everybody's on the same page. You definitely want to try and get your weeds cleaned up before you aerate and seed. So select out the herbicides you're going to use, get out there and get it done within the time frame you have to get it done before you're aerating and seeding. Big old fat double wide right mower stripes. I got a real cool video coming with a bunch of different yards from all over the country, and we're going to talk about what grass type stripes the best. So hey, be sure and like, subscribe, and share, and tell all your buddies. You ain't gonna want to miss that, and I hope this video right here helped you too. Check you later.